I have taken about 2 weeks off. No laptop, no work, just purely inward energy. That was really hard for me to do because I am a person who has, for most of their life, equated my worth to my productivity. The daily tick lists, and if I haven't completed every tick, then I automatically feel crap about myself that day. Even if I did 5 out of 6 on the list, if I didn't do the 6th, I would fixate on that and I would be inwardly talking really rubbish about myself, saying, if only you woke up a little bit earlier, you could have completed the 6th one. Or why did you need to take a bigger rest in the night? Why did you watch that movie? You could have done the 6th one. And that was my inner narrative for a really long time. And I am healing that narrative at this very moment. Hello, welcome back to my channel. Things are different in the background. I am not in my usual filming space and I just wanted a chills video. I've literally woken up, I'm in my robe, I've got my coffee, got absolutely no makeup on. My glasses are here and I have no contacts on, but I have a feeling the light will reflect, so I'm just taking them off. But these are my favourite glasses, so you probably will see a different filming setup for the next 2 to 3 videos. I am away at the moment, so this is what we get. So I wanted to speak about rest being sacred, rest being necessary, and how we equate rest or lack of rest to our self-worth. And if you stay till the end of the video, I will give you some key points that you can look at your birth chart to know whether or not rest is something that you might struggle with mindset wise, but also if rest in a consistent basis, listen, it's for everyone. There are some key planets that if they're in certain houses, rest on a consistent basis is a non-negotiable for you. I just want to say thank you quickly to the love that I got from the Lionsgate portal video, also the sale that was on. All of you who bought Wealth Rebirth, I want to thank you so much, not only for trusting me in this journey of yours, but also I want to thank you for trusting yourself, knowing that you can actually step forward on this wealth rebirth, knowing that you trust yourself enough to be like, yeah, I'm not doing the same shit anymore. I am leading with healing and growth, and I am so proud of you. And I just want to say thank you to every single one of you who bought the wealth rebirth on that sale at the Lionsgate portal. So I have had a nature and nurture relationship with rest. It is in my DNA, it is in my ancestral DNA to not rest, but it's also in my nurturing, the way I have been brought up, what I have seen around me. Rest just was nothing that we did. I have ancestral trauma when it comes to rest, and specifically joy within that. And then I have never seen a healthy relationship with rest. I have never seen someone put their feet up and watch a movie. I never saw growing up just people, having a healthy relationship with rest. It was always, we've got to get this done, we've got to get this done, we've got to get this done. Even when someone was working all day, they would come home and just get on with all the other stuff that they needed to do and I just never saw someone take a break. So, what happens as I grow older, I don't know that rest is normal. And on top of that, what we were taught within society is rest is for the weak. I said in a previous video, but I was growing up in the era with the phrase, I'll rest when I die. And that was really, really common. And on top of that, you know, when you have either both parents as immigrants or one of them as an immigrant, you do see someone who is trying to prove themselves and specifically prove themselves in their work. They might be doing it for their family or they might be doing it for other reasons, but you tie onto that equation when it comes to their worth, and you think when you're older, okay, the more I do, the more worthy I am, of praise, of love, of rest. And that very, very toxic relationship for me created a plethora of illnesses. And what did I do in those illnesses? I just kept going. I kept doing. I didn't listen to my body. My body was desperately crying out for me to sit, to rest, and I just kept pushing through. I wouldn't tell people when I was struggling. I would just be like, you can struggle when you get home when no one sees you, you'll be okay. But right now, you just need to push through. These people can't see you ill. And that was a really long relationship like that. It was a constant battle for me. And ultimately, it created a 10 plus years of illness. And I truly believe, obviously, everything happens for a reason. I firmly believe in my journey. But I do also believe that I wouldn't have been ill for so long had I just not tried to tie my worth to how much I do. And I've said so many times before, when we use astrology shadow work, I look at your core wounds through your chart. And that's exactly what I have done for myself. And every core wound is kind of tied to the other. So it's hard to just like fix one and then on to the next. And, you know, I'm a Capricorn rising, so I do feel like I'm quite pragmatic and logical with those things. I need tangible tasks and habits in order to like get to the end. And through this very long healing journey, I have realized I can't work like that. I When I first picked up shadow work, I was doing it like a tick list. I was trying to achieve, like, oh, I've answered 5 prompts today. I'll do the same tomorrow. Or it would be, okay, every Sunday or Monday, I would do shadow work. But sometimes your body just doesn't feel like it. And I've gotten to a really good place now where I can tell the difference between my mind and my body. And when my body is like, you've had enough, like, you're tired, I don't do that work. Whereas before, it was still, even though I was doing spiritual work, even though I was on my healing journey, I was still choosing toxic productivity within that. My relationship with rest and my relationship with productivity has genuinely stopped me from so much. It has created a negative relationship with abundance. It has created a negative relationship with other people. If I don't get praise from other people, I do more. And you know, even it will stem through into relationships. You feel like you're not worthy just as you are. You feel like you have to prove your worth to that person by giving them more, doing more for them, whatever it may be. And I've been there so much, and I'm at the top of the mountain right now, the peak of my healing journey when it comes to my core wounds. you know, it's lifelong, and I will always have moments where I feel like I need to do more. But the more you go through this journey, the easier it is to do less. And the reason I wanted to talk about this video is because I have taken 2 weeks off. I have not opened my laptop, I have not opened my phone, my emails, my YouTube studio, anything. I scheduled all my videos and I took 2 weeks off. I went on holiday for a bit and now I'm just slowly getting back into it. I'm still in holiday mode. And for the first few days, I found it difficult to fully relax. I was like, oh, why don't I answer some prompts instead then? Why don't I, watch some YouTube videos on certain things? What if a really important email comes through? And I realized with this work and with my path is everything that is meant for me, I will not miss. As long as I keep putting myself out there, I will not miss it. And we don't have to completely be switched on all the time. My fear of missing out sometimes would stop me from actually really listening to my body with that. And I think work is the exact same thing. We think if we miss out on an email, we miss out on that opportunity. But if we miss out on that opportunity, it genuinely just wasn't for us, or it will come around again in a different way that is much more aligned. Because if I was in my deep resting period and I got an email, I would take myself out of that deep resting period, answer that email, then they would email back, and then I would feel like I need to email again. And whatever they wanted me to do in that moment, I would take myself out of my rest period indefinitely for that one email. My body, my brain, my soul does not work like that. I have been on the full hustle grind mentality, and what I've realized for myself, not only just listening to my body, but reading my natal chart, that is not the way for me to get to abundance. I will constantly be ill, constantly have struggles if I follow that path, if I follow that way of life, of never really having strict boundaries with myself. Setting boundaries with other people is hard. I've said this before in a different video, in pleasing others video. But setting boundaries with yourself sometimes is harder, because you could easily be like, oh, I'll just do this one thing. And like, I'll go back to resting afterwards. I'll just do this one thing. And like I said before, that one thing will turn into many different things and many different tasks that you have to do from just that one task that you thought you could get away with. A boundary for yourself is like, today I said was a no work day. So no, I'm not picking up my laptop. I'm not doing any work in this day, in this weekend, in this week. I am completely switched off. And when you have a really big business where you have multiple people coming to you, it's harder to do that, but it's also more necessary to do that. It's harder when you have lots of people counting on you and lots of emails coming through, but you also need that rest more deeply because you show up for people better. You're not agitated by certain things. You're not in a mood for the fact that you missed your workout because you had an email and you prioritized that email instead. It's very much you show up as your best self when you rest. And I've learned that really, really deeply in the past, I would say 6 months. I started this year with a very masculine goal task of 2025, and it's so funny because I give myself phrases, and the phrase that I gave myself this year was the year for feminine abundance, and the universe was like, this is very Capricorn of you, this is very masculine, this task list, this 12-week plan that you've created. And I would say from about April, I just started to look back and reflect, and I was just like, oh, I've completely abolished the 12-week plan. I have naturally stepped way more into feminine abundance. And with that, I have created more wealth for myself. I've created more rest for myself. And that's exactly what I wanted. I am not someone who wants a business where I have to be switched on all the time. I want a feminine business. I want to work with my feminine flow. I want to work with my charts. And that is my goal. I am not someone who idolizes grinding every single day. And don't get me wrong, there'll be moments where you do need to put more effort in and moments where you can be slow and more intentional. But they both balance each other out. I'm not someone who is meant to be on this strict routine every day. I'm just meant to flow and see kind of what energy lies and where I have certain things. And, you know, later this year to the beginning of next year is going to be a really busy year for me, a really busy time. And now I am honoring this sacred rest moment because I know that later on in the year it's going to be really busy time for me. Rest is also really important for you to be able to listen to your body more, for you to be in tune with your body, out of your mind, into your body. Rest is part of that. And if you are someone who wants to schedule in rest daily, then go for it. If you are someone who prefers to like see what your body feels like in that moment, but I think that check-in daily is important, and that is just a couple of minutes in the morning when you wake up. Ask your body, just sit there and take a moment, drum out the noise, and just ask your body, what do you feel like doing today? What do you need more of today? What do you need less of today? How can I honor you today? And normally the first things that come up in your mind are what you need. And honestly, sometimes they don't make sense. But the more you do it, the more comfortable you are with it, the more comfortable you are with sitting with your body. And the easier it is to be able to really step into alignment with your body. Rest isn't about sitting on the sofa and watching TV all day. You can totally do that once in a while, but rest is just more not consuming, maybe creating, not for money, not for anything like that, but just like painting or going to a clay class or doing something, you know, reading a book. It could also be shadow work. It could also be complete silence. It could be running a bath in those moments. It could be really stepping into like moving your body, yoga, going for hikes, walking, whatever it may be. That rest period is not just shutting off, even though that is important. It is stepping more in tune with your body and listening to that and having those deep sacred rests are fully listening to your body. Now, there are some things that give you more of a sign that you need more deep sacred rest, and this is the fun part. So I'm gonna say what I've kind of dealt with, and deep sacred rest is extremely important, integral. for me, and that's because I have Chiron in my 6th house and I have Saturn in my 12th house. Solitude, silence, sleep, sacred rest is really important when you have Saturn in your 12th house, because Saturn in your 12th house affects basically all the other houses. That's how I view it. Because 12th house is your subconscious mind, it is your spiritual work, it is your karma. So when you have Saturn there, it's like, it's not tangible, it can't see it. It's the long journey to there. It will take time for you to be able to listen to your body. It will take time for you to be able to know that you need rest there and you need solitude. Saturn, I think of the wise old teacher, the oak tree. That's how I visualize Saturn. And it takes time. It takes time to show your rewards. It's like, will you stand the test of time here? What if you are gone by the time the rewards come? Is that okay? And when it's in a specific house, it puts more emphasis on that. It's the lessons within that. And when it's in your 12th house, it does really have a negative relationship with rest, with sacred rest, with solitude, with spirituality. It has, and when I say negative relationship, it's when you haven't listened to Saturn, that's when it's a negative relationship. I've had a very negative relationship with my chart ruler because I didn't know it. I didn't know that I needed to rest. I didn't know that I needed to listen to my body, and I constantly filled my life with noise. I never walked outside without my headphones in. I never worked without my headphones in. Every moment I had noise in my ears, whether that's music, whether that's people talking to you, whether that's going out into a coffee shop and listening to people around you. I never had silence, and Saturn in the 12th house genuinely needs that consistent silence. Saturn needs you to check in with your body, with your mind, with your soul. And when you're not giving it that, it's like chaos a little bit, and then you need that moment to like go inward, sit with yourself, and be like, okay, that's what I need to do now. And that's a big sign that you need rest. And rest is something that you have to check in regularly. I have begun a relationship with Saturn where I actually give it deep rest within the year. Hence, the past 2 weeks have been off because Saturn went in retrograde on the 13th of July. From the 13th of July to the beginning of August, I took a very deep rest, and then I have another rest pocket within the last week. And then in September, I have another deep rest, and I honor the phases where it's very tiring within the planets, and those are the pockets that I have those deep rests. And it's for me to reflect, for me to have silence, for me to be able to step inside and just be like a cocoon and listen to what is being said to me so I can come back out. And I think everyone needs to do that. But when you do have Saturn in the 12th house, that is so necessary for you to do. You need to figure out how you can have consistent, deep rest. If you have a 9 to 5, is that every Sunday? It's your non-negotiable. You have at least 5 hours of deep rest, and I'm not talking about sleep. I mean, shut your phone off, shut the TV off, and just deep rest within that time. this is not about your go-go energy. This is not about ticking off loads of things you've done on a Sunday. This is about checking in with your body, checking in with your soul, and regularly doing that. The other one is Chiron in the 6th house. Chiron, wounded healer in the 6th house. You have a very deep wound within productivity equals rest, and you will not heal that until you realize that rest is part of your healing. You don't need to give more, you don't need to do more, you need to just be. And you need to heal that relationship with Chiron really deeply, because it is there forever. It's your constant battle. You know, someone with Chiron in their 2nd house most likely will have a lot of self-worth issues, and that's something they desperately need to heal in order to be able to have the confidence that they desire. With 6th house, it's you will equate worth the same, similar to the 2nd house, but it's all about what you give and what you do. You will not have necessarily a good relationship with how much you give to yourself. You will overgive to others constantly, because that's your view of feeling good enough. And until you realize that actually giving to yourself, you have to give to yourself before you give to others. That's how we heal that wound. We have to have consistent breaks, consistent daily breaks in our life in order to be able to heal that wound. You have to have a rest routine in order to heal that wound. And it can't just be for show, it can't just be for what other people see. So in this sense, it can't be ego driven. It has to be completely soul driven. It has to be, you know, doesn't matter if anyone sees you resting. It doesn't matter if anyone sees you doing anything. This is for you, and you have to be okay with other people seeing that. You know, I have to sometimes be okay with when someone says, "What are you doing today?" and it's a Wednesday, and I say, "Oh, I don't know, I think I'm going to take myself out, maybe buy some flowers, sit in a coffee shop and read, and then go home," or do something like that. And their triggered self might be like, "Oh, do you not have to work?" Like, and I don't need to say, "Oh, I've taken the day off because I've worked so hard," or I don't need to say, "Oh, I'm working all week next week, that's why I'm taking today off." I can just be like, "Oh yeah, I'm not working today." I don't actually have to give them a response, to be honest, but we often feel like we need to validate our rest. We have to show other people how hard we work, and that's why we deserve rest. We don't have to do anything to deserve rest, and that is the energy of Chiron in the 6th house. We genuinely don't have to do shit all to deserve rest, and that is what you need to heal, and that takes time. It takes a lot of time. It takes energy to be able to really step into that, and it also takes bravery in order to be able to really boldly step into that and not worry about what other people say, because that's their own shit that they need to deal with. You have not got enough energy to focus on anyone else but yourself right now, especially if you have those 2 placements, because trust me, some other placements where you might feel like your worth is tied to your rest. If you are wounded, so if you have Venus in the 2nd house, Venus in the 6th house, possibly even Venus in the 10th house, and you feel a bit wounded within that would be a sign for you that you need to really prioritize rest in the healing phases. Obviously, everyone needs to rest, but the reason I started with Saturn and Chiron, especially 12th house, 6th house, is this is a lifelong thing for you. You really have to heal that wound and consistently check in with your rest, consistently check in with your body. You might have to create a business that is more of a feminine flow in order to really heal that wound. I could not heal these wounds if I was working in my old job. I have created a feminine system for myself because I ultimately don't want to constantly deal with autoimmune diseases or chronic fatigue or any of the other stuff that I've had in my lifetime. And this is the key for that. This is my answer. It's like to create a feminine system work. And that means I work with my cycles, I work with the moon, and I honor my deep rest. And that is the keys for me to be able to heal that to heal that wound. If you are a business owner or you do want to start your own business and you do want to create something like a feminine system, which I assume you are because you're watching my content and you're buying my course, and that is all about healing those wounds, you have to schedule. Scheduling automation is really key within that. I don't film a video every week. I have my pockets of when is best for my transits, and I film on those days, and I batch film on those days, and then I batch edit, and then I schedule. So sometimes I might have 3 videos ahead of schedule, sometimes I might have 5 videos ahead of schedule. That is really key when working with feminine systems. You cannot rely on your body filming every week, once a week. You have got to put in your menstrual, you've got to put in your mental, and you've got to put in like what your body actually feels like doing, wanting. I align with the transits because I want to speak clearly and I want to be able to really honor the transits towards my natal chart, and I pick the best days for that and I film on those days. Sometimes it's 5 days in a row and those transits are really good. Mercury is trining my Mars, and I'm like, oh, that's a really great time. Mercury trining Mercury, excellent time to speak. And that's what I look for. Those are the kind of key points to when I need to film. If I relied on filming every week, once a week or twice a week, I wouldn't be consistent on this channel because my energy isn't the same every week. When I'm on my luteal phase, I immediately notice a difference, like of the day, and I'm like, oh, I think I've come out of my ovulatory phase now because I'm feeling super tired and I'm sleeping in, and I honor those. So if I relied on filming in that time, I most likely wouldn't be consistent with my business because I am feeling lethargic most days. Now, those days are great for me to edit. Those days are great for me to refine anything that I need to do on the back end. But when it's being public, when it's speaking, I do not rely on that phase to get me through that. The only times I would is when I just feel really called to in that moment, and I'll set up and I'll film. But that's only happened twice since I've started YouTube. Most of the times I do film in those pockets of transit alignment and my moon and cycle phases. I kind of work out what is best with that. We are not men. We do not have every hormone's coming in every 24 hours. We have a 28-day cycle, and a feminine system is working with that 28-day cycle. Now, if you are someone who has like a lot of hormonal issues and it's kind of difficult to figure out when that phase is happening, or if it's not consistent for you, I would say work with the moon. You know, on our waxing phases, create; on our waning phases, go inward, reflect, refine. Um, so, waxing phase is after the new moon to the full moon, then after the full moon to the new moon is your waning phase. Um, so that would be a great way to kind of work with that if you can't necessarily rely on your cycle at the moment to be consistent. I did not have a consistent cycle, and I have now really come to a place where I've really healed that, and I am so grateful for that. And I feel so aligned with that, because not only am I consistent, but I'm also bleeding with the new moon, which is what years and years and years and years ago women would do. They bleed with the full new moon, and they'd ovulate with the full moon, and that's kind of where I've been for the last few months. Um, so I kind of am able to naturally work with the moon and cycles in one. So I don't need to track different things. But we're all different. We all work in a different way, and we will eventually get to our natural rhythm. We have to trust our bodies. At some point, I might bleed with the full moon because that's what I need to, that's what my body wants me to do at the moment, or that's what the moon wants me to do. And we just honor that. We don't reject it. We're not angry at it. We're not annoyed at our bodies. We are healing our relationship with our bodies. We are healing our relationship with our bodies physically, but also internally. It is all about coming to this place of complete balance. Balance with our energies, balance with our mind, and balance with our rest. And people need rest, but women really need rest. We really need to honor those moments. Let me think about anything else quickly. Again, I'm really sorry if this video has been a bit all over the place. I am just getting used to filming again because this has been a much longer break than I'm used to. So I've said Venus, maybe Saturn. Again, anything to do with second house or sixth house. If it's wounded, or if you're like, you haven't really figured out the lesson for it, you will tend to have a lot of energy around tying your worth to how much you do, which is obviously rest. And it could be tying your worth to how much you do for others, and therefore you don't do it for yourself. You could be trying to prove your worth by doing more, whether that's in the workplace or with relationships or friendships or all of them. You know, you could be someone who shows up to work early and leaves late because you're desperately trying to prove that you are worthy of that job, even though no one's asked you to prove that, even though you most likely are not even aware of that. It's something that's deep within you, and it's something that is not going to really be shown to you unless you do the work, like unless you do the shadow work, unless you do my course or any other astrology shadow work. You will most likely not be aware of that, that you're even doing that or why you're doing that. You just think, oh, it is who I am, like I like it. But actually deeply, there's a wound there, and that wound has been tied to your productivity because you don't feel good enough just as you are. And you are good enough just as you are, just as in a relationship. They are not with you because of how much you give them or how much you do for them. And if they are, then you need to reevaluate that. But they are with you because of who you are as a person. They might love the fact that you help others. They might love the fact that you have a really, I don't know, a really successful business, but that's not why they are with you. They are with you because of you, of who you are, as you are. And that is the relationship that you need with yourself. You don't have to fill your day with 101 things to do. You could just sit and watch TV or read a book or just sleep until 12 o'clock in the day. If that is what your body wants and needs, you could just do that, and you are completely worthy, regardless of how much you do within that. You have to heal that relationship, and then that actually heals your relationship with rest. Like I said, I've had a nature and nurture relationship with rest and productivity, which has made it so hard for me to be able to exit that. But I feel myself exiting that because I am here after 2 weeks off, and I don't feel bad. I don't feel like I need to catch up on anything. I don't feel like I've missed out. I feel good. I feel recharged. I feel ready to take on this pocket of energy and work that I need to do before my next deep rest comes. And I'm honouring that, and I don't feel bad for that. And I'm making money regardless of that. It's like healing that inner child by action. We haven't waited for the money to come in order to deserve rest. We've rested and honoured that the money will come, and it has come. I'm really healing that narrative within my head because of that, and that in itself always blows my mind. When I rest and money comes to me, I'm like, my inner child is like, wait, what? We don't need to do something all the time. Like, we don't need to constantly be on our laptop. The amount of times I just used to stare at my laptop and be like, what do I need to do? I feel like I need to do something. I can't just be sitting here. What should I do? And had I known, if I just like let my work be, let what I put out into the universe be, and just rested while it comes to me, like, that's a game changer, really. And it is crazy when I think about it. But this is what I wanted. I wanted a feminine system. I wanted a career that works with my body and not against it. And I'm building that, and I'm really proud of myself for that. And I'm really proud of myself that I can actually view rest as a necessity that I need. And I also think on a deeper level, and I promise I'll wrap up the video after this. And you know, if you are into ancestral work and you have been really looking into your ancestors and seeing how they dealt with life and what happened to them, you know, my roots go deep. I am half Cretan and I am half Celtic, and I have, in the Celt side, I have Irish, Scottish and Welsh, and on my Cretan side it's just specifically Cretan. And you know, they didn't have the luxury to rest, so I let them rest within me now. I heal that for them, so now they can rest. And then I heal that for my future. So I am the ancestors of my future people, family, whatever, and they also can rest. They also walk with that healed rest, is what I mean. They walk with that healed relationship with rest because I have done the work. And I'm doing the work for my ancestors behind me. You know, Cretans were ruled by the Ottoman Empire for over 400 years, and they did not have the luxury to rest in that time. They did not have the luxury to experience joy, full joy. And I am healing that because I'm doing the work. I'm healing that for them. And I think when you think of it, like, we are the first generation of women that can choose a career that honors our rest. And how beautiful and amazing is that? And how much do you want to heal, like, the women that came before you for that? To be like, you did what you had to do in order for me to be here, and now I honor you. I honor the work that you have put, and I honor now, and I rest, and I let you rest now. I'm not going to bring that toxicity forward anymore, because now I have the luxury to not have to do it constantly. I have the luxury to be able to rest now, and I will do that. I will do that for myself, but I will also do that for you. And I feel very emotional when I think about that. Even as, like, you know, my grandmother, she wasn't able to rest. She had to do. And I can feel her being like, yeah, you've taken this path and you're healing us for that. I'm turning 36 next month, and I've spent a very, very, very long time trying to push through my illness, trying to push through my work, and just thinking, oh, I'll rest when I'm older. Like, when I get to my 50s, I can rest. And I never made money in that time. And I have honored my system now. I've honored my rest. I've created a business that is built on a feminine system, and I am making more money than I ever have done in my life. It is all in that healing. You know, abundance comes to you regardless of how much you do. You have to heal that relationship with abundance first, and you have to heal your relationship with rest, because otherwise you'll constantly do, which tells the universe that you don't deserve when you don't do. So therefore you won't make money when you sleep. You won't make money when you rest. You will only make money when you do. And if that, it might not be as big as you want, because there's a blockage there. Because unless you're doing, constantly doing, your energy is like saying, I don't deserve anything when I'm not proving myself, when I'm not doing. And that could be in love, money, whatever it is. But that's the narrative that's being said. And that's something that we're trying to change here. And I have done the work, and I'm still doing the work, because I don't want to go backwards. I don't want to go to the person, the woman that just had no idea how much she was worth and had no idea how much she deserved. So she was constantly proving and doing, because that's the only way she thought was it. She thought that was it. That was the only way. Anyway, hope this wasn't a big ramble, and if it was, I'm so appreciative of you staying through it all. And yeah, all my links are below. If you are interested in the Wealth Rebirth and you didn't get it in the sale, the link is below for that. I want to thank you so much for watching. I want to thank you so much for checking into my channel and staying if you feel called to. And again, thank you for all of you who bought the Wealth Rebirth course on that sale. I am so excited to hear about your journey and see how far you come in like 6 months' time. I'm just genuinely really excited for that. 2026, better watch out, because we are going to be all in our feminine abundance. But yeah, thank you so much again, and I will see you in the next video.